Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. Welcome to Extra Crispy. So for today's video, we have a video titled NBA 2K19 isn't just dying, it's being buried alive. So, you know, the game that's kind of responsible for pretty much like 99% of the videos on my YouTube channel. So, you know, no big deal. It's just my full-time job and stuff. So, you know, the game's dying apparently. This is a video by Clean Prince Gaming. He does have 7,500 likes, about 1,000 dislikes on this video. So, you know, there's going to be fanboys out there that are going to disagree. But yeah, this is a pretty long video. So we're going to watch it all though here on this special Christmas day. And see why this game is not just dying, but being buried alive. Zach Efron right there, man. Troy Bolton, I should say. Greatest basketball player ever.
2K isn't just dying, it's already dead. This Murdered Of series, as self-aware as it has now become, is very specific in the types of games it approaches. 2K is still selling incredibly well. It's still got massive player counts. Its launch this year was the most successful launch in the series history. It posted the highest launch revenue of any sports game since 1995. But that's not what this series is about. This series is about declining quality, integrity, and most importantly, substance.
Shit, we all knew that.
2K has spent the last few years on a precipitous decline.
VC!
A decline that coincided with one reality that the franchise is, and in another way isn't, responsible for. If you were to pick up a controller and turn on any of the past 3 2K entries, you would likely have absolutely no idea what you're playing shares a legacy with games like this. Everything must change, everything must adapt, but the idea is for things to mature.
Bro, the one with Ben Wallace on the cover, oh my god, so many hours into that game, so many hours.
For products, for franchises to get better. What 2K has done instead is spit all over what once made the franchise so great. So today, we dive into 2K19 and even a bit into 2K18 to examine what exactly has changed so markedly about 2K and what has made the franchise one of the worst examples of what modern games are in the industry. 2K19 is a dangerous release that sets a dangerous precedent. So what's killing the franchise?
I used to be a huge fan of the 2K franchise. I'm an incredibly huge fan of the NBA, and it is something that was easy for me to jump into and jump out of and enjoy kind of that role-playing fantasy, I guess, of being an NBA player. Even in the early days of 2K, before things like my career really even existed, just playing a basketball sim that felt really great as someone that didn't always love NBA Live was amazing, but what I have now is totally unrecognizable. And in fact, what we have in front of us with 2K19 and 2K18 for that matter is one of the most aggressively average experiences you could possibly have when you take everything to an account, and worse yet, when you really look at it, one of the most insulting games that I've ever gotten my hands on. So today, we're going to look at all of the things that have killed 2K as a franchise, looking specifically at 2K19. We're going to look at exactly where the trajectory of this franchise started to go south. So to get started, I think it's worth taking a look at where all of this really began. What happened that allowed 2K to put itself in this position in the first place?
2K13. I believe that's when my team first came around, right? That was kind of where it all started, I think. My team. Hex.
I think the first and probably most pertinent point of discussion before we get into the current state of 2K and 2K19 is a quick look at just how we got here, how things got so bad so fast. In 2010, a demo released on the Xbox Live Marketplace and PSN for NBA Elite 11, a new name for Live. The demo for this game made Fallout 76 look like a finished and polished experience. It was a bug-riddled and atrocious mess from top to bottom. So just weeks before release, EA canceled the game. NBA Live wouldn't return until 2013 with NBA Live 13, which would also be canceled. 2K would spend 3 years with quite literally no competition of any kind. It would live on for years as the only basketball game on the market. This would end up being terrible for the future of the series. With no competition, 2K would improve marginally, but something began to happen. Even after NBA Live's return, EA had lost all market share. They were a non-contender in a market now dominated by one brand. Thus, 2K would spend essentially 8 years from 2011 to 2019 with no fear of lowered sales or competition. So, with no competition, they did what lack of competition breeds: search for money in a market they can't lose in. By 2K18, the company had put themselves in a position in which if you didn't like 2K, you weren't going to be playing a basketball game with your friends that year.
True, man. That's so true.
They could literally do no wrong. So they did everything knowing they could. They began changing what defined 2K. They introduced a game-wide economy that was meant to function on the surface as an ever-evolving set of currency that rewarded you no matter how you liked to play 2K, but underneath that glitzy surface was one of the most predatory and aggressive gaming experiences the industry had ever seen. But what did that mean for the actual game? See, what killed 2K wasn't just, oh no, microtransactions. Instead, what killed 2K was how this newfound financial freedom changed the way the games were developed and released.
It allowed them to make risks. When you have no competition, you can risk some stuff out there because you're not going to lose anything.
Cavaliers? Nope. We won? Yeah. They suck? Yeah. We here?
Draymond's such a freaking douchebag. Such a douchebag,
My career
Draymond,
is the first shot in the body of 2K. My career has gotten so bad that it's genuinely a wonder that people are still playing it. See, my career is the game mode that acts as justification for 2K's economy. Justification for things like in-game ad placement for Reese's Puffs. In this mode, you create your player and work your way up through the levels to get to the league and become the best player at that level you could be. In theory, this could be great, but between 2K18 and 2K19, it is nothing more than a damn near scam. In 2K19, your progression through my career is based not on your skill, but instead on how much money or time you're willing to spend. You work your character up through the ranks in two ways. The first is VC, virtual currency, and the second is badges.
Not really that bad,
badges are earned through play, and VC is as well, but the difference is in how the game treats these two currencies. In my career, you start as a dude that barely has any business playing at your local YMCA. Your jump shot will be trash, your defense non-existent, your movement speed achingly slow. Your first dozen hours in the league will be excruciating. Hell, getting playing time at higher difficulty levels is even a problem for some. The gameplay experience is nerfed. It's designed from the ground up to make you feel as though you can't get better without an immense amount of time or your dollar. The moment you start the damn prequel to my career, the game begins asking you for your money. See, by hindering you as a player to the point of frustration, 2K puts you in a situation where throwing a few bucks at it to get a better jumper seems like the best way to get playing time, or not hate the minutes you do get. Stacked on top of all of that is a terrible quote-unquote story that never seems to even attempt to do anything interesting. 2K18's was offensive, but not nearly as offensive as the years before, but at the very least, 2K19 lets you skip cutscenes for once instead of shoving unskippable product placement down your throat every 2 minutes. But don't worry, that's also made its way into 2K19 as well. What should be a fun journey to roleplay as the NBA player you've always wanted to be, ends up being a tedious, cliche experience that's now being built from the ground up to exploit you and your dollar on the way to making you feel like you're actually playing a real basketball game, and you can't even skip it in 2K19 if you want to enjoy all 2K has to offer. But things get much worse once you get out of my career and begin making your way through the other gameplay options that 2K presents you with. The next thing killing 2K is offensive.
My league's great. That's why I play it, man. No VC needed for now. Probably change in the future.
Give me money, give me money, give me money, give me money, give me money.
2K19, just like the past 2 years, is 100% pay to win. 2K19's economy, and the year prior, for that matter, is built around a simple idea. Virtual currency is meant to be a universal currency, as already mentioned. Everything you do in 2K is supposed to act as a way to further your progression. But instead, it does nothing but destroy the balance of the game for everyone except the hardest core players. Here's some hard numbers. Upon starting 2K, a game that costs $60, you can immediately buy your way to level 85 for a total of 50 real-world dollars. That's right. For $50, you can immediately get a massive dozen-plus hour head start on every other player in my park, and every other player attempting to rise the leaderboards. From there, it's about badges, but there's a pay-to-win problem there too. See, badges require accomplishments and good play. Accomplishments like corner specialist are far easier to obtain with higher stats. So essentially, by buying your way to 85 immediately, you not only pay to win there, but you also put yourself at an advantage over other players to more quickly earn your badges as well. Regardless of whether or not you create a system that puts you against players of a similar rank online, 2K's pay-to-win problem would not be and is not solved. By creating an environment where you have a community that will judge you harshly on your play, you create an environment.
I will say, just real quick, I won't interrupt no more, guys. When it comes to something like this, I somewhat can agree with people that have like full-time jobs and stuff that don't have time to like grind all the way to 85, where it's like, yeah, it is nice to be able to just upgrade your guy to that spot right away. But at the same time, you feel like 2K should just like put you in a spot to begin where you can like be somewhat respectable out there. Like this guy was saying, man, like all the stats are just complete garbage to start off. So I will understand from the people that, you know, like they have like jobs and stuff that can't put in that billions of hours every single year on 2K, but you know.
Where being behind is damn near socially unacceptable in the context of the game. My friend Dom here, who is another YouTuber, hit 2K? The park long before I did, and his experience was one that allowed him to much more quickly enjoy the meat of what 2K19 has to offer by helplessly grinding it out. It doesn't help at all that the things you're hoping to earn, clothes, animations, and so on, can all be purchased with VC and in turn real world money as well. Hell, my team is nothing but pay to win. The entire game mode is built around purchasing loot boxes and absolutely random cash sinks. Pay to win will kill any game, including 2K, but there's far more sinister things at work with 2K that's killing it off as well.
It's not a pyramid scheme. It is it's not even a scheme per se. It's
The Office. I love The Office, man. I love The Office.
You may have been playing a game of 2K before, hopped into the game, and started to get into, let's say, a quick play, or my career game, and you see this video screen pop up, and it's Rachel DeMetta sitting there telling you about what's next in 2K, and the VC sales that are going on, and what you can buy in the game next month. There is literal in-game advertising for the game's literal in-game economy in the literal game. And it gets more sinister from there. It's not just, hey, here's some stuff you can buy, or here's some activities you can participate in. It's also, hey, start the game, look at the scorers table. There's a Reese's Puffs advertisement.
It's Reese's,
Next
not
month,
Reese's.
it might be something else like Gillette. Next month, it might be something else. By the way, are we sponsored by Gatorade? Yes, we sure are. How do you know? Because it's everywhere in the past 3 2K games. Street Fighter recently made a decision to include in-game advertisements on certain stages. So while you're playing a stage, focusing on winning, playing against your friends, you get to view an advertisement, in-game product placement. This was a huge deal to people. People were upset, people were angry. How could you do this? But yet, no one's saying a word about the fact that 2K is doing the same thing to a much more ridiculous extent. Everything in 2K is branded. Everything. The things you buy, the things you wear, everything you see is an ad. The scoreboard, the scores table, every time you hop into a video of 2K TV, there are ads. It is insane. I have never seen a game be used as such a conduit for outside advertising as 2K. It is borderline insulting that the game expects you to just eat that up. You go out into the neighborhood and you're seeing entire buildings plastered with advertisements, and no one is saying a word about it because the people playing 2K don't notice the difference. But here is the problem: the people that notice these things, it takes them out of the game. It makes the game seem like a free demo that you get from Burger King in the late 2000s or early 2000s, and that is not a good thing, even if Sneak King was kind of fun. But it's not just in-game advertising that's a problem. It's not just product placement that's a problem. It's the fact that 2K genuinely believes that they're trying to do better. Or at least, that's what they want to tell you.
This who's gonna edit me, man. I like this video style.
No, Vesper, don't bet.
What is this?
The real killer of 2K is how the development team approaches the game. It's no longer a game to them, it is a whole product. VC is an unfortunate reality of modern gaming. Every game at some point in some way has a currency, and they're trying to get additional revenue from each player that plays the game. That is a direct quote from 2K producer Rob Jones. Here is the problem, Robbie boy. Every single word you just uttered isn't just abhorrently wrong, you already know it is. See, 2K wants to tell you they're improving, and in fact, some of the reviews this year of 2K, some of the review articles will tell you the same thing. It's still terrible, but it's better. Things like haircuts don't cost money now, because that's doing us a favor. That's them getting better. Well, small gameplay tweaks have happened. That's 2K getting better. 2K is an annualized series. 2K does things this year like better payouts at the end of certain types of games, better payouts in my career, but none of it matters because it's all being rebalanced when it comes to virtual currency. Nothing is getting better, things are just retaining a certain status quo. So, before 2K18, let me ask you a question. Did you have to pay for haircuts? Most of you know the answer is no, you did not. In 2K18 you did, and in 2K19 you don't.
Interrupting again, yes, that is such a great point. Like, I mean, that's something I brought up before, where it's just like they'll take something out of the game, and then like 2 years later they'll introduce it back into the game as a new feature. It pisses me off so much, man. Pisses me off.
Nothing's evolved. Nothing's gotten better. Things are just returning to the way things were previously. And that has become 2K's MO.
So freaking true.
They tell you that we're doing this to make it better. We're tweaking dribbling because this type of dribbling was overpowered. Or we're tweaking your jump shot because this wasn't good enough. They're changing things that already worked in past games to make them work better now because they nerfed them in the first place.
Praise the Lord,
2K
man.
is not evolving. 2K is not changing for the better. 2K is just manipulating you into believing that it is. And that's unfortunate, but there's a silver lining here. 2K, the actual game, we're getting everything surrounding it. Just the game is a good time. It's fun. It works. It's smooth. It's beautiful. Playing 2K is a genuinely good experience. The problem is, it is wrapped in one of those boxes you get for Christmas. You know, the big ones, and you open that box, but oh wait, there's another box. Why did you do this, Uncle Tom? And there's another box. Oh no, and another one, and another one, and another one, until eventually, you're so frustrated with opening the present that you don't care about what's inside of it. That is what 2K is every year. A series of different boxes laid over top what should be good that each and every year changes in color, changes in size, but the boxes are still there. I'd implore you not to give 2K a single dime more of your money. But the reality is that everyone watching this already knows just how much 2K has already reached for their wallet.
And how much we all
There's a sad, unavoidable truth when it comes to 2K19. These games are not going to stop making money. They won't stop being the most aggressively money-hungry games on the market. They're going to continue to be everything that casual consumers don't bat an eye at, and everything the gamer wishes would go away. 2K is no longer a sports game for everyone. It certainly isn't a sports game for gamers. 2K is now created for the lowest common denominator. It does the absolute bare minimum qualitatively to convince 14-year-old Tommy that this VC is worth 20 more of Daddy's dollars.
Bro, what's with Tommy and Uncle Tom, man? Damn.
Its entire purpose, from almost the start screen, being to make as much money as humanly possible in the span of one release cycle. Hell, it's almost a direct quote of what Rob Jones said. This prohibits growth, this encourages stagnation, and that is all we've gotten. You may believe it's EA, it's Call of Duty, it's Assassin's Creed, setting the pace for the rest of gaming, but the truth is, 2K is the golden goose for these companies. It's 2K that everyone wants to replicate. An annualized game built around microtransactions that cost $60 and pervades popular culture just enough to be acceptable. It's not. So there is no moral high ground here. There is no speaking to the developer and trying to reason with them. Instead, I'll put it bluntly and simply. 2K has spent almost 2 decades being one of my favorite game franchises. I am fanatical about the NBA, but I am done with 2K. They will not receive another dime out of my pocket for an annualized release. Do with that what you will.
Well, I'm still gonna buy the game because it's my full-time job and stuff. But no, I totally get what this guy's saying right there. He brought up a lot of good points. A few points I thought was a little nitpicky. But no, the fact of the matter is that, you know, Ryan 2K, he cares about making the company money because that reflects nicely on him. But every single year it's the same song and dance where, you know, he reaches out to the big time 2K YouTubers, the 2Hype people, and, you know, just all the guys out there too that are big in the community. And, you know, they invite him down and they show him a good time and they hope that they can kind of like, you know, talk to these big YouTubers and show them such a good time that they won't like talk trash about the game and things like that. But I don't know, man. I think the biggest time change happens, though, is when the big voices speak up about it. And, like, not just one person, because one person can't do it. But when you have, you know, a whole entire community of people speaking up, that's when stuff happens. When a Chris Smoove speaks up, or an LSK, or somebody like that, that's what gets the job done. So, I don't know, man. I'll say this year when it comes to 2K19, I don't really play it outside of making my videos. I've tried to. I've tried to sit down and play. I don't really enjoy it. I feel like the gameplay's trash, although people might disagree with me on that. I mean, yeah, at the beginning of the year, I did spend money on VC and stuff like that for, you know, park mode and my team, and it got to the point where you had to keep on spending money. And even so, the trash gameplay didn't really even help all that much anyway. So, I don't know, man. I'm trying to. I love doing rebuilds. I love doing my league and stuff like that. So I'm gonna stick with that for this year and hope, you know, down the road the game changes and becomes fun again.